Tonight, we made it. Melbourne celebrates a Christmas that's almost normal. The food markets were packed, but the threat from Sydney remains. The MCG in a box seat to host the third cricket test as it prepares to host Dean Jones. 2 women killed and a teenager fights for life in a 2-car smash. Details live. Australia a step closer to delivering millions of doses of COVID vaccine. The last-minute rush to buy Christmas gifts. Now, attention turns to the Boxing Day sales and the volunteers making sure everyone in Melbourne has a happy Christmas.
Live from Melbourne, 7 News with Blake Johnson starts now.
Good evening. Melbourne will celebrate a Christmas many thought impossible just a few months ago. We've notched up 55 days of no COVID community transmission. But we are being told to refrain from hugging and kissing visitors from New South Wales as Sydney's Northern Beaches cluster swells past 100 cases.
The traditional Christmas Eve crush at Queen Victoria Market and a bustling Fed Square.
It's amazing.
After the worst year many of us have endured, Christmas this year is almost normal.
Oh my God, it's such a relief.
But while Victoria's tragic second wave is over, the COVID threat remains, especially from Sydney.
If you're spending time with people who you know have come back from New South Wales, I would encourage you, let's not hug and kiss right at this moment in time.
Another 9 cases in New South Wales today. Worryingly, one of them a man with no known links to the Northern Beaches cluster.
We are far from out of the woods. We're not out of the woods by any stretch.
Encouragingly, the testing numbers are staggering.
I nearly fell off my chair literally when I and others realised that 60,000 people came forward to testing to 8 p.m. last night.
The situation means our border checks will remain for some time yet, but still some are trying to cheat. 48 people are now spending Christmas in hotel quarantine after flying into Melbourne from Sydney against the rules. Also in hotel quarantine today, 100 air crew. For the first time since the pandemic began, staff now face the same rules as passengers when they arrive here. This Singapore Airlines crew among the first, escorted to the Mantra at Tullamarine before a cleaning crew moved in. Not everyone's happy though. 7 News understands at least 2 airlines are refusing to fly to Melbourne.
We understand that some of the international airlines find that hard to comprehend. We've explained it very clearly to them. We understand that 1 or 2 of them may have to make some decisions about how to manage their services during that period of time, but our position is non-negotiable.
The Defence Force Chief has defended not allowing troops to help at border checkpoints, saying it's had other pandemic priorities apart from enforcing state borders.
We've been in aged care facilities, we've been doing contact tracing, we've been doing testing on the streets.
COVID does mean there'll be more people working through Christmas this year, as well as the usual emergency services workers. There'll be people in hotel quarantine, police on border checkpoints and health officials at COVID testing sites, all working to get Victoria through this unique festive season.
I'm sure we're all looking forward to a much better 2021 and we can boot 2020 into the memory banks.
Laurel Irving, 7 News.
Police in Queensland have launched an urgent investigation after a crew member from a yacht that docked in Cairns tested positive to COVID. The woman in her 20s is isolating, but health authorities say they're frustrated the crew is not cooperating with police. The cost to charter the yacht, which arrived from the Maldives, is around $800,000 a week. South Australia has recorded 2 new cases, including a man in his 20s who spent time at Sydney Airport. The MCG is poised to host back-to-back tests, with Cricket Australia growing increasingly concerned about Sydney's COVID outbreak. Andrew McCormack has tonight's developments. Andrew, the G is officially on standby.
Well, Blake, Melbourne continues to be a very attractive option for Cricket Australia. Continues to firm by the day to host this New Year's test. The Aussie squad trained here at the MCG today. Behind the scenes, Cricket Australia's board met. They did decide to hold firm for now with the SCG, but they continue to prepare a plan B, which is to hold the New Year's test here in Melbourne from January the 7th. The issue is getting exemptions for not only Australian and Indian teams, but also hundreds of support staff, including broadcasters across the border in between the third and the fourth test between Sydney and Brisbane. Cricket Australia are currently contemplating putting well over 100 people in a hub-style arrangement in Sydney in order to guarantee both the SCG and the Gabba test go ahead as scheduled. That would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. The other option to go ahead here in Melbourne. Now, Cricket Australia is under a lot of pressure to make a decision before Christmas, but they say they don't have to make a final call until the end of the Boxing Day test.
We just really want to give ourselves a little bit more time to work through all of the arrangements. If the situation worsens in Sydney, then one of those options is to stay in Melbourne.
So, Blake, a very busy Christmas day for Cricket Australia executives, opening some presents in the morning and definitely hitting the phones for most of the day, you'd say.
All right, Andrew, thanks for that. 2 women are dead and a teenage girl is in the fight of her life after a 2-car collision near Portland. Tegan Dolling is at the Royal Children's. Tegan, the girl was flown here in a critical condition.
Yeah, that's right, Blake. Very tragic news coming in this afternoon. We understood that the girl was the backseat passenger in a Holden car when it collided with a Jeep around 10:30 near Portland this morning. The female driver and the female